Hello, welcome back to One's the Force, a Star Wars podcast. And I'm joined as usual tonight by Dave, but we have George back.
Hello. Yeah,
it's a Christmas miracle.
It is. It's the best kind of miracle. It's not as good as getting the Star Wars title. I mean, that would have been nice, but
that would have been cool. That would have been cool. However, having you here is still good. It's still good.
It feels so nice to be A, on a desktop, B, on here, C, having normal internet speeds. I'm home for Christmas, as you can probably tell with the old school background, I guess I have to say now. And I thought, why not?
You say you're guessing with the old school background, but we know it as the old school background.
It is my background.
Seen you in a few episodes.
I was gonna say, like, where I am now, like the internet's not even strong enough. It'd just be like, you know, that potato 240p. That's what it'd be like if I managed to make it onto a video. It's just whenever it rains, it's like, oh, the internet's down. Yeah. Well played, English lover. Good times. Good.
It's okay.
Horrible.
It's not like you have a couple of YouTube channels that you need to be on. It's not like you have work to do. It's not like it's important in any shape or form.
I'm like one of Thanos' victims in September. I'm just disappeared. And with the camera quality, you might think I'm actually turning into dust if I just went underneath the chair. But no, in honesty, it's nice to be back. I've missed that. I've seen a couple online. It's been a lot sort of tougher with the schedules where I live, the internet. There's a horrible combination of things. So I'm happy I'm back. I think one of the first things I did before I realized I'd message everyone like, hey, can we do a video? I'm home. So it's nice to be back on.
Yeah, we weren't due to be back on for, another 2 weeks? We were having a break. But
yeah, another
George is
available.
I've ruined your Christmas break.
That's okay. We'll take it. So, I mean, yeah, it's really, we're kind of back with no real news as such. Phil, do you want to give sort of a brief of what we're here for?
Yeah, there's no real news as such this week. We had a couple of cool things announced yesterday in terms of The Mandalorian and Galaxy's Edge. We'll cover that in more detail when we come back for our proper episode. However, for now, we're going to do a look forward to 2019. We've got a lot of releases coming up. We've got 2 TV shows, well, 3, 1 returning, 2 returning, plus 1 new one being The Mandalorian. We have the Disney Plus service being launched. We have episode 9. We have books, we have comics. We've got a lot of things coming out. So this is just a look forward to 2019, what we've got coming up and what we're looking forward to.
It's going to be a big year. I mean, the obvious is episode 9, but there's so much more happening, not just Star Wars. Disney, I mean, we're going to get into like Disney Plus. We're getting Clone Wars. We're getting The Mandalorian. There's Galaxy's Edge, and there's so much happening next year. I mean, this year we've basically had Solo, the end of Rebels, a Last Jedi Backlash, and Resistance.
Yep,
it's been a very quiet year compared to the previous probably 3-4 since Disney have took over. So next year, I mean, we kind of said this in our episodes that there's going to be that quite long distance from now. I think we said that after So, didn't we? It's going to be this quiet, big gap, and it's going to all come storming through. And to be fair to Disney, I mean, announcing Mandalorian and Clone Wars is given talk for a couple of months, and I feel that next year is going to be the kind of the end of the first Disney era, but the beginning of the second.
Yeah, indeed.
Especially the next phase.
Especially with Disney Plus, especially with moving forward with the end of the sequel trilogy. It is the end of one era, beginning of the next. But we've got a hell of a lot coming up this year. So this year we only had Solo, Last Jedi Backlash, Solo, End of Rebels, beginning of Resistance, and that's it. It has been a quiet year. But next year is going to be insane. We might as well crack on with it. We'll do the visual releases first, then we'll go on to Hasbro, and then we'll go on to the books and comics. For starters, so January 13th, we have the second half of the Resistance starting. There's still no word if there's going to be a second season yet. I reckon if there is, we'll get an announcement towards the end of the year, and it could be set between episode 8 and episode 9, potentially. Again, we have no idea where the show will finish at the moment, but yes, January 13th, so that is, 3 weeks' time now? We'll get the first episode back, yeah?
It's not long away at all, and I think it's an interesting one that it feels very much like this could be a one-and-done series, kind of something as a stopgap, giving you sort of a little more insight into the First Order, just kind of little glimpses As I say, I've loved the show when Poe Dameron's been in it. I'm not overly taken with the main other characters, but behind the scenes, the Poe Dameron has made the series for me. So I'm wondering if it will be a one and done. This will close out just maybe before Force Awakens starts, or if they'll then find another story, like you say, further down the timeline for them.
Indeed, that's the point. We haven't had George on the show since Resistance has started. George,
tell us your tale.
Would you like to know about my thoughts on Star Wars Resistance? It's quite hard. I've only seen 15 minutes of it, and that was... I mean, animation's a very weird thing. I love animation. I love Pixar, I like Disney animated. I like seeing new animation. Rebels to Clone Wars. My issue is that sometimes it can take me a bit longer to get into it, which is what I felt with Rebels. Once you get past them first 6-7 episodes, you're in. Clone Wars, once you get past series 1 and 2, you're in. My issue with Resistance wasn't even the content before I turned it off. The actual animation style itself, this sounds so weird, but it really hurt my eyes. And I don't, this isn't a criticism as such. I think this is just me. There was an Oscar film last year. I forgot the name of it. It was about Van Gogh, and it was animated, and every single frame was drew like a Van Gogh, so art piece. And I saw the trailer for that, and it was felt similar to Resistance. Obviously, they're completely different animation styles, but it really hurt my eyes and head watching this because it was like every frame, oil paintings everywhere. And it really just didn't click in my head. I didn't like it, and I got the same Resistance, and I do want to visit it, but I'm gonna have to wait for it to be done to then go on the binge and see if I can get into it, because I was really struggling in that first episode. I think when it launched, you guys messaged me and said Poe Dameron's only in the first episode, and that was a kind of big throwback. Like, oh, okay. But Resistance, it's hard to have a fair opinion because I've seen 15 minutes of what, 8 episodes now.
11, isn't it?
11. Oh, God, are they good?
Yes, I mean Poe's in it a lot more. He's in about 3 or 4 episodes now. I think
that doesn't help.
But no, the storyline is good. I mean, unfortunately, the proof that your internet is terrible and not being able to watch. There's a couple of filler episodes. There always is. It always has been. But on the whole, I'd say it's quite good. I mean, I think I'm enjoying it more than Dave. It's our usual. I'm very much yes. Dave's in the middle, and you're.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say no because, like I said, I only saw 15 minutes, and it's a no for 15 minutes, but I can't judge a series upon a 15-minute pilot. Yeah. Like I said, it's something I will try. My issue is finding a legal means way of watching it. Where I live, I mean, if I haven't gone by internet enough, I can't even watch Netflix anymore. And if you can't watch Netflix, then and that's legal. If you can't watch the legal method online, it's a struggle to get to the other websites. So plans will be made. There will one day be a collection on a computer, of course, digital download, like Dave's best friend, skipping the Blu-rays for them digitals. Maybe I'm gonna wait to see how it goes. I'm sure when fast forward to a year, before a year, in the hype to episode 9, I'm sure I would have found the time to get through it. I mean, I've got a couple of weeks off. I've got a plane to catch to America and maybe get me in the mood to watch a couple of hours of that. It'll be very interesting. But I'm sure by this time next year I would have seen Resistance. But what's very interesting is the outside view for once is I've not seen the content. I mean, my Twitter is filled with a combination like Star Wars fans, film fans, like football, soccer. And I've got a variation of Twitter. When Rebels used to air, used to get a couple of people tweeting. I've seen nothing. I've seen like one tweet the day Resistance came out. I've seen like nothing since. I've seen the Star Wars Twitter account, obviously trying to plug it and stuff like that. But Resistance, from what I see, is a tough sell. It's definitely aimed at that younger generation. But it's been very hard to gauge the interest. Oh, sorry, because I'm not seeing anybody that's into it except you guys, and which is great because obviously we're into the same stuff. But it's so hard when no one else is talking about it to get that interest.
I think its demographic definitely falls on the younger side, and I think that's why you don't see a lot of its activity on like social media as much, like Twitter especially. As I say, that's a medium for all the people, so I think that's certainly why. And if you're going to jump into it, I think the Poe Dameron episodes will be probably the ones to jump into and give those a view, because you can kind of learn a lot from the first episode. Then you could probably see the Poe Dameron ones if you were into that and want to just see more about the characters that you already know.
Yeah, especially if you're going to watch one episode, watch the last one, Station Theta Black. That one that's a great episode.
Is Captain Phasma? Has she been in it for more than 2 minutes?
She has, and do you know what? I actually liked her in Station Theta Black. In the last episode, I actually liked Phasma. I texted a friend of mine that, and he was like, "I think you're autocorrected from like to don't like." Like, no, I actually liked her in an episode. It is one of those things that you guys on here know my vehement hatred for that character, but I actually liked her in an episode. So for me, that speaks volumes about what they've done with her. I think she fits the show better than her characters in the films, but yeah, she's been on it in a couple of times, but especially Station Theta Black, I think, is the best episode so far. That's the mid-season finale. But next, of course, I missed it on the schedule because I deleted it by accident. We actually do have, speaking of your plane, we have Star Wars Celebration in Chicago next year. Dave and I aren't jealous, of course, but we do have our reporter on the ground here with George, so he will be there for more episodes just next year when we need him when he's in the States.
I will be there. I mean, it's less than 4 months away. No, sorry.
It is 4 months.
Yeah, no, it is 4. Yeah. In 4 months' time, I'd have been and gone. It's scary how quick it's approaching. I've managed to save not as much as I'd like so far, but I'm in case of the odd person attending, then I am sure that methods will be found, banks will be robbed. No, Celebration. It's a lot. I've got a lot on it. Obviously, what happened at work and whatnot. There was a vague talk of not going, but because I've already kind of saved enough to cover the flights, etc., I did choose to stay. So it's going to be nice to go. I've not been to America before. I'm looking forward to the other stuff. But Celebration itself is going to be massive. I would bet a mortgage on the fact that there's probably going to be the first trailer of the film. I don't think they'll drop a Mandalorian pilot there. I'm sure there'll be a panel for the Mandalorian. I'm sure there'll probably be like a trailer, extended trailer or a scene, probably for that crowd. I'm sure Clone Wars will have an episode debuting, like what they've always done at Rebels. And there's going to be so much happening. Will there be an anniversary of the prequels? It's the 20th anniversary next year. I mean, certainly from the merchandise standpoint, they are going all out for prequels next year. And EA, of course, they're going to be dropping you'd assume that have some details in regards to that the new game they're doing.
Yeah.
So I feel that Celebration is going to be very big next year, and that'll probably be one of the biggest celebrations for quite a while. Certainly with it being the capping off the new trilogy, and fingers crossed for a 2020 reveal of somewhere in Europe. But Celebration is going to be the big one. I'm very excited to go to see how it is. That's really the main thing for me next year across just everything in life is going to be at there. The place I'm staying at has Wi-Fi, so I will be able to probably do more stuff in Chicago than I can at home. But no, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be covering. I'm going to have my camera. I'm going to obviously be having a phone, trying to do selfie stuff. I'm going to try and have a good time. And fingers crossed, we definitely get Hayden Christensen, who I'm convinced will be on the first. I mean, they've announced Warwick Davis is the panel host. Yeah. I'm convinced that these guest announcements will start rolling in January as well. I mean, off the traditional, every Wednesday for about 2 months?
Mm. Yeah, the Star Wars short tend to announce someone as often as they can in the lead up. I think you're just going to time in terms of sheer scale.
We've already had the book panel announcements.
The authors have been announced. The stage guest next is autographs. I'm convinced Hayden Christensen. That's right now, off of realistic ambition. That's the main reason in terms of, because obviously where I am, what I used to be like, I can't really do that stuff anymore. Going out getting like 10 in a row. Hayden Christensen is going to be the one. There are rumors the main cast may sign one day each. I don't believe that for 1 second. I think Lucasfilm are going to hold them to their contract to make them do it after episode 9. But there's that rumor there because, of course, the cast will be there to promote the film. Fingers crossed I can get to the panel. I'm not in the mood to camp out overnight. I might for episode 9, but I don't think I would for any other panel at this point because it'll be going so far. I mean, London's different because we know London. I know London off the back of my hand. That area was a bit different. I'm not going to camp overnight in Chicago. I will for episode 9 panel. I don't think I could for anything else. I don't think anything else is justified. Does that make kind of sense?
I completely understand, especially when you're in a country you don't know, you're not familiar with. And also where, yes, of course, I know you'll get travelers insurance. I know you're not stupid, but if you do get yourself into scenarios a lot more difficult.
Chicago's got a very high crime rate for guns. There was this great meme. One of my favourite Star Wars moments of this year was a guy on Twitter that put "Get Your Celebration" merchandise with a bulletproof jacket with the Star Wars
That
Celebration
was, I
logo
think,
on.
about the week after the announcement. Yes, I saw that, and I must admit I busted out laughing at it. Again, I had to be wary when I went to Boston, but that was, I didn't need to camp outside for that, but that was still pretty awesome. But yes, no, Celebration next year I'm looking forward to in terms of yes, of course, you'll be able to see it, and if there's anything revealed in a panel that we don't get to see here, you'll be able to tell us, which would be nice. But I'm looking forward to seeing what announcements they have, what signs they have, and of course, we'll send you some money and we'll get you to bring some back.
Buy us.
That pop magically disappeared on the flight. You see?
Yeah, no beach balls and no oven mitts, please. That's all I ask. No oven mitts.
I was thinking earlier. Actually, I was chatting to my parents about celebrations. I don't really see myself spending much on merch. I just had a flashback, like, cool. God, I was thinking back to Phil's loot box. It was the fact I was so close to ordering it and chose against my better judgment not to, and that's one of my proudest financial decisions.
Yeah, no, ooh.
It makes Phil shiver. You can see the shudder in him when he heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we did it on. The T-shirt was cool. The mug was cool.
I can get you these, not for $90, for $900. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Phil. I was waiting for Felicity Jones autograph because I need it to walk my house.
Who is going to be next year's Felicity Jones? That's a good question.
Ooh,
now,
yes. Who will be next year's? If Hayden Christensen's there,
Hayden's going to be $125 because Topps do these autographs. They had Hayden at episode 9. Sorry, not episode 9. What, Orlando? They had him at a New York Comic Con recently. Not the New York, like a second one. Yeah. Same price, ran by the Topps company.
It was the New York WinterCon, I think it was.
Is it Rhode Island they call it, or something like?
Yeah, I did read about it. Yeah.
So I'm convinced that because obviously Topps get the guests in for Repop for the celebrations. I'm convinced, and if you go on Topps authentic websites, you see them like quadruple their prices of what they should be. Hayden, I'm convinced Hayden will sign next year. I don't want to get my hopes up on anyone else. Fingers crossed for a premiere getting right, or some Oscars or whatnot.
Would you get him next to Palpatine so you can have Master and Apprentice?
So I'm looking at it now. I hadn't moved. Everyone knows about Obi-Wan Kenobi autograph, don't they? I hadn't moved at this point. I don't know what this thing does. So I got the episode 3 poster. I've got it signed currently by Ewan McGregor and Matt Wood, who voices General Grievous. I got Kenobi slap bang in the lightsaber crossguard in the white section. A centimetre too far to the left because I originally wanted Hayden and Obi-Wan together. But my plans, because obviously Anakin's above that autograph, I've always intended on Hayden to sign it and then tell him you have the high ground.
Nice.
That's been my goal for a while. And then Sam Jackson is going to a premiere in London in a couple of weeks. So I will be trying my hand at a prime Mace Windu autograph.
Nice.
But like I said, if the Natalie Portman turns up, that's not ever going to happen. The only thing she hates more than Star Wars is Marvel.
Just Thor 2, I think. But then again, doesn't everybody?
Attack of the Clones and Dark World, 2 films that. Yes.
But I think if anyone was going to command sort of Daisy Ridley, would be the choice of that I think would command probably the most if she was going to appear at a con and sign.
Yeah.
More than most of the other cast in that.
Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver.
Yeah.
If Adam, because you guys like me, you see Authentics, you see some of the people they can get. Obviously, private signings are so different to public. Harrison Ford's done a Topps autograph private signing. He ain't gonna do a public one. I would pay to have a camera. If Harrison Ford ever signed, I would pay to watch a live stream of just him signing for people and just seeing how angry he'd be getting across the course of a couple of hours. Wouldn't you want to watch that? That would be absolutely brilliant. But
that would be literally, we're live streaming just at this queue. There's his face, just literally a camera, like a GoPro right in his face.
I'm praying Adam Driver is nominated for this. Black Klansman, I thoroughly recommend to everyone. He should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think he will. Very good film if anyone's not seen it. And if he's at the BAFTAs, then I can get him for free. But no, Celebration is going to be big. I think there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of news at Celebration. A lot, and there might even be announcements that come out of nowhere that we don't know about. We're forgetting there's a Cassian TV series.
Yes, Cassian.
I think you're going to get. Yeah, I think I agree. I think you get massive news when you're there. I think it's all going to come out. We're going to have just so much content over the weekend. Well, I'll say weekend. It's like nearly a week now for
5 days
celebration.
now, isn't it? I mean, Orlando was 4. That pushed it 5.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's slowly, as it's got closer, it's justifying how much stuff there is. I mean, you keep forgetting there's a Rian Johnson trilogy. There's the Game of Thrones guys. Then there's the Mandalorian. Then there's the Castian one. There's Clone Wars. There's Resistance. There's merchandise. There's games. There's a film.
There's a huge amount. Yeah.
Other films. There's so much that Disney are sort of exploding with, and it's crazy to think that it just started off as a film series of 6 films by George Lucas. It's just absolutely insane that. And it's interesting to see where they're going to take it. And I think Celebration is going to be that vital. This is a vital celebration. Disney know they need to get Celebration right as well.
Indeed. It's going to be a hell of a lot of news coming out of that. The next big bit we have is for the summer of 2019. So in the summer, we'll have Galaxy's Edge opening at Disneyland Resort in Anaheim. And then in the fall, it comes to Disney World in Orlando. We had the trailer drop for that, the more behind the scenes / bigger trailer for that on Christmas Day, and we may have to visit. It does look a bit pretty.
I need to go. I think everyone need. That's going to be like going to Mecca now for Star Wars fans. That the trailers, the behind the scenes, what they're showing, it's going to be something special. It's a shame it's not in England. I do really wish it was going to be in England. It'd save a lot of money. But, I mean, Disney, I don't know, for a bit of politics, I don't know if knows like the Star Wars Legoland weekends. Disney have now took that license off Legoland.
Oh, really?
So and what people believe is that Disney are now not playing politics as such. Not that you get conventions, which is great and whatnot. But the draw for Disney is going to be bringing people to the Star Wars land. And I feel that there might be some more choices in that vein. It's going to attract people anyway. But you know how Disney tend to protect their franchises. I'm convinced that's something that will happen soon with Star Wars more and more. Because they want everyone's going to want to go. The Disney going to want more and more people to never stop coming.
Well, I'm sure at some point we'll make a pilgrimage out there. I know I will for sure.
Do we have a Dave?
Oh yes, sorry, I'm just having some issues. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it's gonna. You're absolutely right. They want to draw as many people into this as possible. Especially, they know they've got the whole Star Wars fandom who want to get to this thing. The Millennium Falcon. I just can't get past the life-size Millennium Falcon. It's gonna make grown men weep like children.
These 3 especially.
Yeah.
It's just going to be getting into the... we all know how films work. We know they're on sets. And we know that it's it's a constructed Falcon in the films. Can you imagine, like, when the cast get to go over there, probably they're like, wow, the real one. Like, well, not the real one, but there's no one that can walk on that and probably not get a tad emotional.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to see how, when it opens... I'm interested to see, obviously we know the attendance is going to be insane. I'm interested to see the reaction from the fans that attend, to see how manic it really is. Are they going to be queuing for days to get into one ride? But I'm so intrigued by everything that they're planning for. But everything coming out of it is just great. There's not a single bad thing or news I've heard about the Star Wars and stuff.
I've seen nothing at all.
Oh. I don't know if we're losing Dave again.
Yes, no, again, I've seen nothing bad come out of it, and it's something that I am very, very excited to see. The life-size Falcon would be cool. The fact they've got X-Wings, the fact they've got the John Williams score as well. The fact you're going to be walking around and you're going to be hearing Star Wars, well, that added layer is just going to be... It's just going to be incredible.
It's a John Williams score as well.
Yeah.
The fact, I don't sound rude, the fact they got him in to score a theme park ride, I didn't think they could. Fair play to them for doing it, and with the London Symphony Orchestra. It's
not a ride, it's the actual score that you're going to hear as you're going around it. That's the thing, it's going to be blasted around speakers as you're there. You will be fully immersed.
That's what's going to be amazing. I thought they might have gone for like an unknown or someone of the other reliable guys that was rumoured for quite a while it was going to be Chiquino. But to get Williams in, it's that kind of final blessing that he's only ever done the films.
Yeah.
So to get him in for the theme park as well, that's big in my estimations. And it gives that authenticity to go along with it.
It does, yeah. And it's something that When you go there, I was going to have a headphones in, just put on the soundtrack anyway, just put on the scores from the films, but you don't need to. Not with John Williams being blasted at you. Again, so looking forward to that coming. Again, in the fall, we have Disney Plus coming. Now, Disney Plus is going to be huge for Star Wars. Disney Plus brings Rebels. It brings the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy. It brings the standalone films, brings everything together, along with The Mandalorian and The Return of Clone Wars.
Now it's not going to get the films.
No.
So it was on the news a couple of months ago that Disney, when they took over the rights, they sold the TV rights to an American company. And basically this contract, it had all of the new films basically up to episode 9. So they're not even allowed to show like episodes 1 to 6. They'll be launching Disney Plus without the films because it's in their contract that they have the rights until like 10 years after the contract was agreed. So I think like 2023. And Disney tried to buy them out of the contract and the company said no, which was probably not a very smart thing to do. I'm sure Disney will be trying to find a loophole, but it's going to be very odd that it's going to be the sort of the home and the future for Star Wars, but it's going to lack the actual films for a couple of years. It's going to be very interesting to see. I'm sure that Disney will probably find a way eventually or just up their price of a bid. But Disney Plus is going to be the format that's going to bring everybody together. And I think Disney Plus is what that's not just the future of like Star Wars. That's like Marvel. That's Disney itself as a company. That they're challenging. Disney are going to challenge Netflix, and they'll do a better job of than what Amazon Prime have done. And Disney are probably big enough to destroy Netflix as well. I mean, they've gone about it's going to be cheaper than Netflix per month. But yet they're sat here announcing stuff like, oh, here's a Loki TV series, here's a Cassian TV series, here's the Mandalorian, here's Clone Wars. They're giving out that content to match their ambitions, and you feel that's only going to grow as the sort of time goes on.
It's crazy that we're going to get a series that, you're right, Netflix now having to concentrate so hard on original content because of everything that they're going to lose with not just Disney app, but other people now releasing apps. You're basically going to eventually have a television where what you do is you have apps for what you want to watch. You won't have standard channels anymore. It just doesn't make sense in the world that we're heading, the way the television is going. It's not a medium that can survive all this application that's taken so much of the content away from them. So yeah, it's going to be incredible, and it's bringing us content that the people like ourselves that are into this are absolutely crying out for.
Indeed. I mean, yeah, to start off with it, we will have The Mandalorian will be the first bit released. So I think the Clone Wars, from what we had, is November, December time. But The Mandalorian comes first. They've announced that's coming in the fall of 2019 with the service things could debut on there next year as well. The live action TV series, I think I'm actually looking forward to more than the Clone Wars, only because we've had the Clone Wars. We know what the Clone Wars looks like, hyped up for the return of it. But The Mandalorian is an unknown to step into the live action world in that television format. We've seen the films, and we love them. That's why we've got, that's why it's got the fan base it's got. That's why we've got The Mandalorian coming, to see what Jon Favreau does, what Dave Filoni does with it, what they bring to the table, what you have with Taika Waititi, with Bryce Dallas Howard, what Pedro Pascal brings to the role as the Mandalorian. I mean, the casting list is phenomenal. I'm just genuinely looking forward. I'm really more intrigued to see the Mandalorian than anything else.
I just love the fact it's live action. I mean, I'm not a snob. I like animated stuff, but I've when I've sort of defended stuff like The Lion King and Jungle Book in the past to other people, I've always said it as a kid, as a 5-6-year-old kid. It doesn't matter how great animated films are, you want to watch it in live action. Someone puts it on a plate, live action, animated stuff like Pixar works for being Pixar. You are going to have the chance to do this film animated or this film in live action. You would go for live action. That's always been my personal opinion. Okay, that's an opinion. I don't want to sound arrogant in regards to that, but if the Mandalorian is animated, okay, it'd be cool. But I would kind of be, I wish it was live action. Clone Wars, perfect for animated. It continues what was started so many years ago. Too expensive to do live action. Mandalorian, it says it there in the title. That's the sole protagonist. Clone Wars would be far too expensive. You're looking at film, Star Wars film. Mandalorian, that's one character. That gives you enough to go, right, let's get it live action. Let's get it going. And I can't wait to see the budget of this. They're saying this is going to be one of the most expensive TV shows ever made. I think it's on par with The Crown and what's it called? Game of Thrones, the later seasons. That for a 10-episode run, it's about 200 million.
Yeah.
Go for it. Just go for it.
Their budget, that's 100 mil, that's 10 mil per episode, which for a TV show is phenomenal. It really is.
And I think it's going to be worth every penny. I've seen nothing coming out of that show that I've gone, oh, that doesn't make me interested in it at all. From seeing the Mandalorian himself, to seeing the weaponry, to now seeing IG-88, well, an IG-88 assassin droid, also showing up now. We know we're going to see some familiar faces or look at the droid type head things. But yeah, it's just going to be. I think it's going to be an awesome series, and I hope it gets the following that it needs to then not maybe go for a second season, but to then lead on to other shows to come off it.
Indeed, it's going to be very interesting to see what sequels, if any, it spawns, or where the show goes, what direction it takes in. Don't get me wrong, at the moment we've got no information apart from it's set 6 years after Andor. We have no information per se about what the direction the show will take, but just the amount of scope they have setting it where they've got. And I said, I'm interested to see what Pedro Pascal does in that role. And I said it's that lone gunslinger, it's that he has the galaxy to explore. And of course, we had the image of IG-88 tweeted out as well for us. To see more and more and more, I just get more and more excited for it.
Definitely.
And then, of course, in the winter, we do have Clone Wars. That goes without saying. We are all very, very excited to see that return.
It's just nice to see it back. It's going to be nice to pick up where we left off, have a bit of a binge before, see if we can catch up to where we were. But I really hope that they've kept the budget that the original Clone Wars series had.
They may have increased it with Disney's backing.
I would hope so, because my gripe with Resistance is that it looks so cheap. So Saturday morning cartoon cheap. And you could tell Rebels was cheaper than Clone Wars. It looked great, and as the series developed, that animation power got probably better. Sure, the budget went up in accordance with that. But I feel Clone Wars, that was just such a perfect animation series itself. They need to pick it up where it left off.
And absolutely. It's perfect. I can't wait to see it back. You're right. It's going to be something that you'll think, right, I'll binge watch series 1 through 5 and the Lost Missions. Now, that's what I'm kind of wondering with the Lost Missions that we had, whether they'll be kind of, because there was kind of tagged on, whether we'll kind of see from season 5 and now this is our real season 6, and the Lost Missions are just what they are, or we take elements of those and see some of that in the new series that we're getting. Whatever it is, bring it to me now. I want more Clone Wars. I adored that series.
Who didn't? It was a fantastic series. I mean, there's episodes I don't like. We've had that discussion in the past, but no, I am very, very excited. And the Lost Missions were good. We've got the book following on with that being Dark Disciple. We had the comic in the Fall of Dathomir. Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir. And we also had the Bad Batch and the Crystal Crisis on Utapau. So the Celebration animations released. So we have had the rest of that series released. We have had bits from that, considering what they went. So to see where it goes, see how they tie it all up. Yeah, I'm very excited. If we've got, 12 new episodes guaranteed. I mean, that's better than we all thought. We were hoping for one, like a movie. As I said, when we had that announcement, we had our preview discussion. I was saying how hoping for a movie or end of the series, and he was very skeptical. Thought maybe a comic book, maybe a series of novels. No, we've got 12 episodes coming in to see what they bring to it. See Filoni finally finish that series. I am very, very excited to see that happen. And then, of course, we have the big one in December of 2019. We haven't got a release date for it yet. We just know it's December.
No, we've got a release date. It's the 19th.
The 19th, right? Yeah.
American. Are we going to get the usual England gets it a day early? I hope so. I've booked a week off work in case.
We're going to see that.
George was saying that literally. George, in our chat, sent us a picture of his calendar. And in December, it was literally that week was marked out with just Star Wars 9, which is excellent. Hopefully the same sort of the midnight showing on the Wednesday and the Thursday.
A premiere. I mean, I think my issue was in episode 8, I took a week off. No, sorry, I took a day off for the film coming out, and the second day off, and then it got to the premiere. I was like, I've just had to negotiate. At the time, I worked in retail. I had to negotiate more time off on the Christmas week than I already had. And I just said I wouldn't let that. And where I work now, if one person's off in our department, then no one else is allowed off. So as soon as I got on, I just booked December 2019's final week off. That calendar itself, do you see the giant words? Star Wars. I mean, it'll be reversed, but Star Wars episode 9. I've just given it the whole week. Saturday too.
Well, for the multiple viewings, you need it.
I mean, I saw Last Jedi 4 times in the first 3 days, which is probably was excessive looking back. It depresses me that I only saw Solo the once. I was doing my my ticket book a couple of months ago, and I got to Solo. I was like, oh my god, I only saw it once. That's actually tragic because Rogue One 7 and 8 all got their own pages in this giant ticket book, and it was just like this. I got half a page with just the sole ticket underneath, and I kind of thought, oh, but that's kind of my opinion of that film as well. It's just it's a shame, isn't it? What happened?
Oh, definitely. It should have been coming out. We should have been going to see that last week. That's what we should have been going to see.
Now, the one thing I've definitely seen online is a lot of neutral film fans saying, "Wow, December's not the same without Star Wars film."
They're absolutely right.
You've got Bumblebee, which was great. Aquaman, I'm witnessing, attempting to see on Sunday. There's this free for all of these big films, but nothing's filling the hole left by Star Wars. The fact that if Star Wars had a December release, 3 of those films would have changed their release dates because they would have been scared. That's what I miss.
Single doubt.
And I just feel that Solo May was completely wrong, the release date for it. I mean, I don't want to have another Solo. It's everything we said in May time that they were stupid to release it so close to Avengers, so close to Jurassic Park. It should have had December. It would have flourished. No, Venom's made 890 mil, and that came out in October. That's one of the worst films I've ever witnessed in my life at the cinema. But it came out where no other film decided to release a film. So all these stupid people went and watched it, and unfortunately in some countries they went more than once. And I look at that and I'm there like, how did Venom make 890 mil? Oh, that's why, because nothing else was out. I just don't understand where it went wrong for Solo. They keep blaming. I mean, Disney kind of pinned the blame on not marketing, but they're like, oh yeah, we got the release wrong. It's like, yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, there was that. There's just, as we discussed it a few times, like, there was that big backlash over The Last Jedi. It's kind of the fallout from that was still there, where people were like, oh, I'm not. If that's what you're doing at The Last Jedi, I'm not going to see another film about another character that I didn't ask for a film for. And I think that kept a lot of people away. And I think it's found a massive
Blu-ray sales are very telling, though.
Blu-ray releases for the United States came out for the end of 2018, and Last Jedi and Solo are at the top of that list. But Blu-ray sales, which just shows you the following that this has after that. I think Solo's doing much better in the aftermarket than it ever did in the cinema.
Which is a big shame. So that film had been released this week. We all would have seen it a few times. There would have been a lot of hype for it. That's the thing. If it had been released at the end of the year, the backlash would have died down from Jedi. You would have had, Last Jedi. Hashtag Lasties, bring that back. Yeah, we would have had a lot of build-up for it. Could have had a couple of trailers. That's the thing. They could have taken their time with it, and the film would have been better for it.
But then, we get to next year, and we are closing out the Skywalker saga.
Exactly, and I think what helps next year for 9 is that, we've not had a Star Wars film in a year and a half.
Yes.
And some people are going to pretend there wasn't one after Episode 8, because a lot of people genuinely didn't know Solo was a Star Wars film. Didn't know anything, And that's not us laughing. That was genuine. The general audience.
Yeah.
They didn't know. And they couldn't be asked, and that's going to help 9.
Mistold. Yeah, it just wasn't done right at all.
Episode 9 is going to be wow. I've not seen a Star Wars film in a year and a half. Let's go. Let's round out this trilogy. Let's just go. And I think it's going to be humongous. It's going to be beautiful. No directors have got sacked. That's what we want to hear. But. Bring on Episode 9. Bring on 2019. I cannot wait. It's going to be sad. I was very emotional during 7 and 8. I think it's going to be even worse, Episode 9. And I'm fearful about what may happen in the film.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of emotion going into it, and the 3 of us will hopefully meet up and watch it together. We'll do something.
Yes, let's do that horrific IMAX double bill where they quadruple the price.
Yeah.
And then that added,
we'll come down and pay for Episode 9.
When you convert, for weather in America, what do they have? They have a Fahrenheit, or obviously we've got Celsius, or whatever it is. We have to double it, then add a number to get out of the temperature. What it is in America? Americans, that's what the IMAX did for the Star Wars. It was we're going to double the price of the normal bill, but you're watching in London, George. So here's the extra number on top. I think it was 27 pounds.
I had 16.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna pay it again.
Yeah.
I've got the time off work. I live closest there now, so I mean, if anyone's welcome, we'll be sneaking like 6 people into a premiere again. Only pay for 2, but it was just such a good day. It was a horrifically awful week of scheduling, premiering, sleeping, napping, all of that. But it was so worth it at the end of it, and I just can't wait to do it all again next year. But be a little bit more organised in that.
It's going to be amazing. I think you're right. I think
the 3 of us will meet up for it. We'll do something for it with the 3 of us.
Come to Midnight London.
Yeah,
join us in our crusade of. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Force Friday. I mean, what was more interesting? Because obviously, I didn't even get to see as much news I used to do. There's a rumor it's October. That's a month later than it was for episode 8 because they know they messed up the episode 8 one.
On our previous show, we had the announcement that Force Friday will be rumored to be October. It's closer, so the fall off before Christmas isn't as much. You have October, November, December. If it's mid to late October, you have 5-6 weeks. Then you've got the film. You have a trailer around that time. You will have a lot of push for it. Whereas September, you kind of had it die down just before it built up again. So putting in October is a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you, and the way the retailers stock, I guess, they had that month's run for the collectors, and then they had a massive gap to get it restocked for Christmas. Whereas next year, get it out in October, let the shelves empty in November, back start of December. That's the smartest way. And you're right, October's normally when the tickets go on sale. That's where the trailer will come out. If they can get it right, that will help because it's kind of embarrassing still seeing episode 8 merchandise reduced on the cheap because they know. And Hasbro, I mean, I think as sad as it was, it's not really sad for Hasbro, they're still rich, but a lot of Hasbro's sort of how they treat the retailers is very bad about how they pack boxes, what they send over, the sort of the quantity. I mean, remember when we did our 40th anniversary Black Series? The R2 and the Han Solo were rare because they double packed everyone else.
Yeah,
Hasbro needs to sort of address that, and I think they will.
Indeed,
I think we're starting to get more in terms of action figures. Certainly, Black Series is certainly more availability on them. If not, the prices still being a bit hiked up and having to go to a certain place like a Forbidden Planet, something like that, to get a hold of some of them. But we're getting them slowly but surely. I think we are going to hopefully over the next year. Certainly, I think when episode 9 hits, we'll have a much better release of the actual the figures and things like that come out.
Indeed. Well, whilst we are on that, shall we actually move on to our Hasbro releases for next year? First up, the one thing I didn't get was the vintage collection. If someone wants to look that up whilst I'm prattling on about the Black Series, that would be useful. So first up, we have our regular Black Series release. So for that, we've got Vice Admiral Holdo from Last Jedi. We've got a B1 battle droid, which I cannot wait to get my hands on a B1. And it will fold up, so I will want 2 because I want one folded up, of course. Jedi Master Mace Windu from Episode 1, Padme from Attack of the Clones, we've got Dryden Voss, and Han Solo Mud Trooper from Solo. We'll have Ezra Bridger and Chopper, the double pack from Rebels, and we'll have Dr. Aphra, 000, and BT1, and 000 will have his murder hands. And those are from the Dr. Aphra comic book series, and I cannot wait to get those 3. So I think out of a lot of the waves they've done so far, this is the one I'm looking forward to most. I'm not too fussed about Holdo. I won't get Holdo, I'm not going to lie. B1, yes. Mace Windu, most likely. Padme, not sure. Voss, probably, because I do like Paul Bettany in it. Solo's the Mud Trooper. I like the Mud Trooper design, but Ezra, Chopper, Dr. Aphra, BT1, 000, just take my money now.
I love, in this range, the Mace Windu, the digital sculpt and paint on the Mace Windu figure. Why wouldn't you want a Samuel L. Jackson figure in your life? It just has to happen. And you're right, a B1 Battle Droid, while I was like, Battle Droid, you say, like, yeah, I need a few of those as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to bring on more Black Series. I'm quite open to buying as many as they'll release.
Since the change of technology, the leaps and bounds have been outstanding. And I kind of wish it was done 2 years earlier, so episode 7 was not marked with the abysmal, laughable excuses or faces that they released.
Oh, the Poe one is just... Oh.
The Poe, the Daisy Ridley ones are just classics for the wrong reasons. I mean, you'd have thought that Hasbro would have had everything perfect for the episode 7 release.
Yeah.
Because that was the time to get it right. They did it for episode 8, and episode 8's merch figures weren't there because everyone had bought everyone for episode 7. Vintage collection on the other hand, beautiful.
Yes, I've got the list up now for the vintage collection, so we'll get onto those in a bit. Yes, that's your regular releases. We have our exclusives again announced. So GameStop / ThinkGeek. Not sure we'll get them in the UK at the moment because of Toys R Us now going. Maybe Entertainer, we'll see. The Black Series Rocket Trooper from Rebels and Battlefront 2. I like the look of that. Target stores are going to have an exclusive Luke from A New Hope. Again, it's another Luke, but he'll be in his Imperial Stormtrooper design. Imperial Stormtrooper disguised with the slick back hair from being doused and soaked by Dianoga, so that would be kind of cool, I guess. It's going to come up with a raffle communicator and a helmet, of course. However, you've also got the Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi, which will be at Walgreens in the fall, and that's the Clone Wars version, and it just looks stunning, and I will do whatever it takes to get one here in the UK. It just looks amazing.
Oh, hello.
Have we lost Dave?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I thought my headset cut off. Then my bad.
No. So yes, that's our exclusives. Again, I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan out of that. And then of course we actually have the XL line as well now starting up, which is for your larger characters. And the first one is the Gamorrean Guard and the Moloch. But the one, of course, everyone's looking forward to, the one that I want the most, is General Grievous from Episode 3. That thing looks amazing. I saw it when I was at Comic-Con in October, and it does absolutely incredible.
See, Black Series, I think they've done leaps and bounds coming back. They've kind of pulled it out. Like I said, they're at a low point, and to bring that back, that's been big. And I think one thing is I follow Star Action Figures on Facebook, which is great for collectibles. They are very much in contact with Hasbro, and Hasbro are addressing the issues, the stock issues, how the exclusives are almost impossible to get in England. That's been a big issue, and the pricing of not the English figures, but the pricing over here in the UK is horrific compared to what it costs in America. I mean, for some of the Black Series, you're looking at about $14, $15, and that ends up being about £23. And they've said that Hasbro are going to change it to £20 UK.
Yeah,
people go, it's only £3. Well, that does make a difference if you're going to go out and buy a batch of 5.
Considering how much the average price in the UK at the moment for 27, it makes a big difference.
I think if you go somewhere like I mentioned before, Forbidden Planet, you're looking sometimes at £32, £33 for some of the figures on the release, and it's just like, you know what, it's just craziness.
Yeah, when I got Home Commander Gree, it was 32, 33 quid, and I was like, it's Gree, and I haven't seen him since. I've only ever seen him once. I only saw one of them, and that's the thing with some of these figures. They are rare because we're going to get huge because of that packing issue, and the prices over here are jacked up, and it does. And the second-hand market over here takes advantage, which it does suck. But yeah, for the XL line, that General Grievous, so I saw it in Comic-Con in October. It's huge. It's amazing.
The only other time I think we've had a General Grievous is the Elite series that Disney stores did, the die-cast ones. There is a General Grievous, and if you sell them now, they sell for quite a lot. But if you took them out the packaging, there was no physical way to stand them up without propping them more with walking stick lightsabers. He just had no balance to him. So to get a Black Series that'd be weighted properly and looking as good as these new ones do, yeah, absolutely, it'll be one to add to the collection.
It does come with a cloth cape, and it has 2 arms which will be extended to 4 arms in the battle stance. It's got 4 lightsabers, it's got a blaster, it's got a lot of cool stuff out in spring 2019, but more importantly, it's not an exclusive. So we don't have to worry about it being shipped to certain stores or anything, so we'll be able to get it in the UK a lot easier. We also have the Archive Black Series collection coming as well, so a lot of the figures being reprinted now with the digital printing. It's pretty damn cool the fact we've got these coming back out. We've got Boba Fett, IG-88, Bosk, X-Wing Pilot Luke, which apart from the 40th anniversary issue before that came out, was just still ludicrously expensive. That 40th anniversary one that you've got, George, is also very, very expensive now as well.
Which one?
Trilogy likeness, the Biker Scout. Your 40th anniversary X-Wing Pilot Luke.
I never had
George
that.
wishes he had an X-Wing Pilot Luke.
Oh, yeah, no,
that was, I remember that, £120. I'm sure that would come down in price after Star Wars Celebration. Isn't it now like 200, 300?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's crazy to get one now.
To be fair to Hasbro, they got strict to Celebration, one per person, and they marked it on everybody's tickets for the weekends. Whereas in London, I wasn't a very nasty person, They just so happened to have one per day per person, so you could manage to get about 6 across the weekend if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And people were selling them for extortion amounts online. Such horrid people. And now they've stopped that, and that's why Pilot Luke, I think they realized that as bad as it was selling them and whatnot, having a black market of like a black gold market was okay. Now we need to find a way for everyone else to get these figures, and that's something they've done. This series is great. This stops the eBay scalpers, the Archive Black series. Don't like the packaging on it. Not keen on that.
Not a fan either.
I don't like the fact it's bubbles. They should have just repackaged. Darth Maul's magically been on the shelves in England for the last couple of months.
Yeah, the Entertainment had a huge backlog that they managed to dig out the stockroom. Because I also got
you got it signed.
I did. I got mine. I got it signed by Ray Park as well.
And that's why, like, how did they have the most valuable figure just magically lying around in a stockroom for about 5 years? Have Black Series been going now?
The state of some of the boxes, they've just been lying around as well. Some of them you get into a stop and they are battered.
Oh, my actual box was okay, but it had some like pretty serious dust on it. I had to give that thing a thorough clean before I got aside. The condition of the box was fine, but it had some thick dust on it. Anyway, so yes, we've got Bosk, Boba Fett, IG-88, Bosk, Pilot Luke, Yoda, Biker Scout, and Anakin Skywalker from Episode 3. I'm very, very much looking forward to getting my hands on some of those. So yeah, don't like the packaging much, but the fact we are getting those back, very excited for. The Vintage Collection, I've managed to dig that up.
I'll say I've got these for you. So, when Vintage Collection relaunched, Lucasfilm said we're going to do 3 waves a year. Looking at next year, we're looking at a minimum of 5 a year. And by wave, it's kind of 4 or 5 in a pack. I'll go over them. I've got them up here now. I've been collecting these. I love them. I got the Scarif Rogue One ship, which is great, but I didn't go for the TIE Fighter because it doesn't look very vintage. It just looks the same as every other TIE Fighter I ever saw. There's no attraction in that, but I have been able to collect a couple of these, which was very nice. But we're looking at Wave 1, which is January, sort of February time. We've got Yak Face, Scarif Stormtrooper, Leia as Bouche, and Klaatu from Episode 6. Which is the cards always look beautiful in these. Wave 2
one in particular does look incredible.
Anything of the new stuff just naturally looks 10 times better. Yeah. I don't know if it's because I think it's because it's not been seen before. Gives that edge. But I mean, Wave 2 is stunning. You've got Elite Praetorian Guards, Donald Glover's Lando, a bog standard Imperial Stormtrooper, Chewbacca from Episode 7, I believe, and you've got Captain Phasma, who I'm sure will look great. Wave 3, we're looking at July. We've got Luke Skywalker crate from the end of Episode 8. We've got the Death Star Gunner, the Assault Tank Commander, which looks the exact same as the Assault Tank Trooper. Don't really know why that's there. We've got R2-D2 from Episode 4 and Darth Revan, which I really, really, really dislike. I absolutely despise the fact that they're bringing the EU the old EU, not even the new EU.
Yeah, it's Legends,
Legends, because Dr. Aphra, fair enough, that's a bit like, I wish it was visual, but that's current, that's popular. Bringing Darth Revan is like, you're entering a dark category now of bringing back Legend figures. I don't want this is not current, I shouldn't have to pre-order a wave with this in it. And that's just me being mental. I don't want to own that. I don't want to have to pay for something that's not in the current. It's not going to look right. Everyone's going to be like, who is this? Who's this? Oh, this is this geezer from like 20 years ago that people haven't got over. And that's my description of Darth Revan. But you've got a September Wave 4. Right now, they've only got Poe Dameron announced. A couple of exclusives coming out. You're getting the Hannah's Stormtrooper Episode 4. You're getting a 41st Elite Clone Trooper and the Gamorrean Guard, which you just know is going to look beautiful in the packaging. And I'm sure when Episode 9 rolls around, there'll probably be a Wave 1 launch. Or actually, no, that'd be very interesting. Would they wait for after the film, or would they be launching it using trailer images? You never know. I mean, I'm still waiting on a Kylo Ren unmasked for this.
Indeed. They are. Have you got the exclusives there as well?
Yeah. We've got the clone.
Yep.
I swear I just said them. Han Solo.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, they were. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, that was my bad. And thought the only, no SDCC or anything else exclusive announced at the moment, but you can also be guaranteed we'll get some SDCC, some summer exclusive, some Pro Celebration exclusive. We'll get some exclusive from Hasbro at some point.
Oh God, can you imagine trying to get the Vintage Collection figure back on a plane without being damaged?
You know we're going to want them.
I thought the Carded Black series was getting from up north in England on a train to the Midlands. How am I gonna put? I'm gonna have to like wrap up in all my clothes. I say, have you got anything to declare? I'm gonna be like, no.
I'm just buying 2 seats for the flight back, and this is just for my figures.
I mean, they're strict enough. I'm fine to have a poster tube. If they dare take a poster tube off me, there will be absolute carnage. It'll be like snakes on the plane. That poster tube stays with me.
This is my hand luggage. This is all I'm taking. Don't touch it.
I know someone that works a bit. I was like, yes. I was like, and the poster tubes are fine. Yes, good.
Indeed. And then we move on to finally the book/comics we have coming up. So from March until July so far, we have the books announced. So we have Pirates Prize coming out in January. You've got Queen's Shadow, which I'm very much looking forward to by K. Johnson. That's coming out in March 5th. You've got Star Wars Icons Han Solo, which is a reference book, which I actually will probably get. That's April. Master and Apprentice, very, very much looking forward to that one, being Obi-Wan and Anakin. Being Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, being by Claudia Gray, coming out on April 16th. You've also got Alphabet Squadron coming out in June 4th, and Thrawn Treasons for July 23rd. Yeah, Thrawn, I definitely can't wait for. Just got alliances, looking forward to reading that. Yeah, a lot of cool books coming up, but the Master and Apprentice book, that I'm very, very excited for.
And Alphabet Spaghetti will be a great book too.
Indeed, Alphabet Spaghetti Squadron will be very interesting indeed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know why they're called Alphabet Squadron, with X-Wing, A-Wing, B-Wing, and Y-Wing, and U-Wing, but...
Still the worst title of a book ever.
The worst title they could have come up with, yeah. And then, in terms of the comics, we have, just at the moment, with the Solo adaptation, and then we've got the rest of the Age of Republic coming out with Kenobi, Dooku, Anakin, and finishing off with Grievous. Grievous, I am very, very excited for in terms of that one. And we've got the Age Rebellion, Age Resistance to be announced. Those are coming in 2019. We haven't got an announced date for when they will be. Their printing run will start. Age Rebellion will come first, then Age Resistance. Age Resistance, I think, will probably come in the winter. By the time we finish off with Age Rebellion, because Age of the Republic finishes in March, so it'll be another 4 months, and another 4 months, I reckon, we'll get Resistance later on in the year. We also have everything from IDW continuing. They're just doing their Star Wars Adventures series, and that's it in terms of the comics and the books. We do have a lot more, though. We do have in Celebration. We'll have the Marvel panel, the Star Wars Publishing panel. So you have the Marvel part, you'll have the book part. So more will be announced then. But this is what we've got so far.
It's a packed year already. Like, this is 2019. We're not there quite yet next week. But it's a massively packed year for Star Wars. It's going to all lead up to Episode 9. The build-up's going to get more and more. Celebration's probably going to give us a massive hit in the arm of what's coming. George is going to be very excited because he's going to be there, and we're going to be throwing daggers. We'll be throwing out so much content when it's Celebration time. It's going to be a good year for Star Wars.
Indeed, I'm ready to chuck out 5 or 6 videos in the space of 4 or 5 days. Ready to.
I'm gonna miss that. As much as nice it's gonna be there, the pandemonium of watching the live stream straight online. Phew, that was a good video. 2 hours later, we go again. Yeah. I really would miss the little things like that. It's gonna be nice being out there, but my main goal is to try and. I'm sure they'll give out an exclusive poster. I'm gonna try and bag that home and try and get more than one.
Like everyone did with the Rogue One posters, just take one pile.
It was. Yeah, I think the worst was the episode 8 when they were on eBay for £90 the next day. I'm just going to be rubbing my hands right, one for Dave, one for Phil, the rest for investments. Yes.
I have to pay off the mortgage I took on the house somehow to get there.
They'll be like, oh George, how do you afford that America trip? Selling posters. Is that your job? No, but it pays better. Oh no, I can't wait. It's going to be a great year for Star Wars. It's going to be a big year. I can't wait. There's going to be bumps along the way, but I'm sure it's going to start off with a slap bang. This is episode 9. This is the title, and the internet's going to go into meltdown for a couple of weeks. It's going to be glorious.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully, throughout the year, you'll get your internet sorted. We'll get you back on the show.
I will discuss that with you after we end the stream.
Yeah, it has been nice having all 3 of us on. It feels like
nostalgic.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's only been 3 months. It feels a lot longer.
It does, yeah.
A lot longer. But no, it's nice to have been back. It's always nice to come back. I like talking about Star Wars. Everyone at work laughs at me. He's obsessed with Star Wars. I'm there like, it's oh, well, I couldn't say that. And yeah, Star Wars is great.
So, George, nearly getting fired already.
Yeah. Moving on.
Moving swiftly on before we end the show, before we wrap things up for tonight. What are you looking forward to most in 2019?
For me, I've got to say the only thing that is top of my list is episode 9 all the way. It really can't get for me any bigger than that. To be finishing off, not thinking that we're now moving forward with these characters, to finishing the Skywalker saga. That's going to be it. It's
I probably should have said, what are you looking forward to most that isn't episode 9?
Oh, sorry, Phil. Sorry.
Probably should have qualified that one first.
Yeah, you should have.
It's actually all of it. Yes, episode 9.
Outside of that, for me, I think it's going to be Clone Wars, closely followed by The Mandalorian, are my big things.
It's going to be Celebration. Not only does that, I mean, the hype starts now, but to me, Celebration's where it really begins. And the best thing about Star Wars, it's not just being in midnight in that screening. It's about the build-up you've had across like a year to it. And that's going to be that moment when that trailer drops. That's going to be something special.
I only didn't do Celebration through jealousy, you have to realise.
I need to not bring it up. I'm just going to disappear.
Yeah, don't talk about it, George.
I'll get there. I'll just like Photoshop out the background.
So people are wondering, why are you bringing around this green screen? I'm cosplaying the prequels. No, I'm not. I'm just making my friends, making sure they're not jealous.
That's really good.
Indeed. I think for myself personally, actually, I'm going to say The Mandalorian. Yes, I'm looking forward to Clone Wars. Yes, I'm looking forward to episode 9. I'm also looking forward to that first live-action TV show. Looking forward to seeing what direction they go in. Looking forward to seeing Pedro Pascal, what he does with the role. Looking forward to see how they manage live action. That's what I'm looking forward to most, I think.
Excellent.
Indeed. Well, we've been Ones of the Force. Thank you so much for us. Thank you, George. George finally coming back. We always say he's putting in a lot of effort behind the scenes. He's always talking to us, always giving us news, always anything he finds we haven't put up, does give it to us. So he is still here. He does exist. He isn't just absent, this joke I make up every single week. It's fine. He is real. And it's been good having you back, George.
It's nice to be back. I like being back. I like talking Star Wars. It's nice, and it's always good. It's nice to talk on Facebook, but I come out of work now. I don't like when at my old job. I used to be on the phone 24/7 at work, so I'd read every message. I'll come out to like 40 messages, and I'll be like, "Yes, the news is all there for me." Yeah. And it's nice. It's a lot better to be talking about it though. But no, it's good to be back, and I can't wait to come back again.
Indeed.
Excellent.
Well, the only thing left to say is thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find the audio versions on Stitcher, Podbean, and on Spotify. Of course, we're still on YouTube, and you can get the download on iTunes. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for commenting. Leave any comments down below. We'll always get back to you. We've been Ones of the Force. May the Force of us be with you. Good night.